Unit 2, Lesson 2, Part 2. In this video, I will show you how to do conversions between the two systems that we've been talking about. So we'll be converting between our U.S. customary system, like cups, pints, miles, feet, pounds, ounces, and the metric system, which uses the meters, liters, and grams. Some important things to note before I get started. One is that you can show me how the decimal moves when converting just within the metric system. I will accept that from that video that I included. However, you must use unit analysis for problems like this when you're converting between the US and the metric systems. Another thing to note is we will only need a US to metric relationship when converting between the systems. And when you're converting between the systems, you should only use one of the US to metric relationships. So let me show you what I'm talking about. If we go back to the conversion chart that I provided, and that's in your notebook, these are those metric to US conversions. So notice we have one that will convert from inches to centimeters, one that will convert from miles to kilometers, kilograms to pounds, quarts to liters, tablespoons to milliliters, ounces to grams, ounces to milliliters. So just to get a little more detailed, this is length. This is also length. Kilograms and pounds measure weight or mass. Liters, quarts, tablespoons, milliliters, those are all measurements of volume. Grams, ounces, milliliters, pounds, grams, ounces, pounds, kilograms, those are measures of weight. And then fluid ounces, milliliters, liters, cups, those are measures of volume. The other thing to note that I said in my note is if you need to go from one system to another, you can only use one of these. The reason for that is because notice these wavy lines here? Those wavy lines are an indication that it's an approximation. It's not exact. So the conversions that you do will not be exact. And the more of these you use, the less accurate your answers will be. So only limiting your use of these to one will keep your answers as accurate as they can be. So like all of these have equal signs, so these are exact conversion factors. But since we have these wavy lines, these are approximate. So we only want you to use one. So the wavy lines indicate that they are approximate conversion factors. So only use one in a problem. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so notice that in example 3, what we want you to do is to start with pounds, which is a measurement in our US system, and we want to convert to grams, which is a metric conversion. So whenever you're given one system and you're wanting to convert to another system, that's when you're going to need those conversion factors that convert within systems. All right, so what we want to do is we want to go to our chart and see what conversion factors, what we call these bridges, what bridges we have for, these are measurements of weight. And we have this one here, which goes from ounces to grams. So what we can do is take our pounds, we can convert them to ounces, and then go to grams. Or we could use this one here and go, we're given pounds, we can convert directly to kilograms, but then we would have to go from kilograms to grams. Now, there is no way to know which one I would use, so I will take either method that you would like. Let's do this first one for our example. Sorry, I keep scrolling down. All right, so what I said is we're going to go from pounds to kilograms, and then we're going to go to grams. So our conversion factors that our bridge, remember, was 1 kilogram is equal to 2.2 pounds. And then we also know a relationship between kilograms and grams. So a kilogram is bigger, so it's going to get the 1. Kilo is 3 jumps away from gram, so that needs 3 zeros, so that's 1,000. So those are our conversion factors. Okay, so to start our string, we have 0.075 pounds, and we're going to put that over 1. So the way to know which one of these we're going to use next, remember, it has to have pounds in it. So this one has pounds, so that's the one we're going to put next. And we're going to put pounds on the bottom so that they'll cancel out. So we have our 2.2 pounds, and we have our 1 kilogram on top. So that puzzle piece went there. So now we see our pounds will cancel, but we're at kilograms and we were asked to find grams, so we need to keep going. So we're going to pick up this piece next because it has kilograms in it. And this has kilograms in it. And we're going to put kilograms in the bottom so they'll cancel out. So my 1 kilogram is going to go in the bottom, and my 1,000 grams is going to go on top. So note, some students mistakenly think, well, the 1 always goes on the top, but notice in this problem, 1 went on the top here, but it went on the bottom here. So what determines what goes on the top and the bottom are your units, because you want them to cancel out. So you can't leave the units out of your string, because then you won't know where to go next. All right, so now we're ready to do the math. So in the top, we have 0.075 times 1,000. On the bottom, we have 1 times 2.2 times 1, which is just going to be 2.2. All right, so 0.05 times 1,000 is going to move that decimal place 3 places to the right since we're multiplying. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3. That's going to give us 75 over 2.2. So now we do need to get our calculator out. So we're going to do 75 divided by 2.2, and that gives us 34.09, and that is grams. And I was asked to round to the nearest hundredth, which is why I cut it off at 2 decimal places. Now, if you had used the path remember, that would go from pounds to ounces and then to grams. the answer you would have gotten would have been 34.02 grams. So notice they're not far apart if we compare this answer to this answer. And I would take either of those as acceptable answers because there's no way to know which path I'm going to take. You may take a different one. All right, I'm going to wait and do the other example in a different video. So tune in for example 4.